Some fighters work for years to earn their shot. Khamzat Chimaev kicked the door down. 2 UFC wins in 10 days, a 17-second knockout, a title fight 5 years later. Won 50-44 on every scorecard. He doesn't beat opponents, he smothers them. Takes them down in 7 seconds and breaks them piece by piece. But behind the wolf, behind Borz, there's a kid from a war zone, a family that escaped Chechnya with nothing, a career that almost ended in a hospital bed when his lungs gave out. Today we break down Khamzat Chimaev, how a wrestler from a Chechen village became the most feared man at 185, the moment he almost retired before he started, and the night he made a champion look like an amateur. Stay until the end. The fight that almost killed him is the same one that made him unbeatable. If you're into real fighter stories, the technique, the mentality, the rivalries, you're in the right place. Subscribe and join the community. We're building a full MMA story library, fighter by fighter. Not just highlights, the real stuff. Khamzat is one of the most interesting cases in this sport right now. His story isn't just about being undefeated, it's about how far one man can go when survival is the only thing he ever learned. So let's go back long before the UFC, long before the belt, to a small village in Chechnya, in the middle of a war. To understand Khamzat Chimaev, you have to understand where he comes from. He was born in 1994 in a small Chechen village, right in the middle of the First Chechen War. Russian tanks, burning cities, chaos. His own words to ESPN, "I come to this world when it's World War." Nights without food. A mother who made sure her kids ate before she did. In Chechnya, wrestling isn't a sport, it's a survival skill. By age 5, Khamzat was already on the mat. Wrestling came before reading. Years later, his older brother Artur went to Sweden for work and brought the family. Khamzat moved as a teenager, 2-room apartment with his mother and brother. He kept wrestling, 3-time Swedish national freestyle champion, 12-0 in tournaments. But wrestling alone wasn't enough. At 23, he walked into the All-Stars Training Center in Stockholm and started training MMA. The people in that gym noticed something immediately. This guy was different. Khamzat didn't have a long regional career. He didn't need it. In his first 2 years as a pro, he wrecked everyone. Submissions, knockouts. He was so dedicated that during his early days, he reportedly slept in a small storage room inside the gym. The UFC saw the tapes and signed him fast. What happened next changed how casual fans saw the sport. July 2020, Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. Khamzat submitted John Phillips. 10 days later, he TKO'd Reese McKee. 2 UFC wins, 10 days, different weight classes. In September, he knocked out Gerald Meerschaert in 17 seconds, one of the fastest knockouts in middleweight history. 3 fights, 3 finishes, almost no damage taken. People started calling him the most hyped prospect in UFC history. But what happened next almost ended everything. Late 2020, Khamzat catches COVID, and it doesn't go away. He pulls out of a fight against Leon Edwards, then a second time. The UFC flies him to Las Vegas for medical care. X-rays come back bad. His lungs are damaged. His coach, Alan Nascimento, describes him struggling to breathe in the middle of the night, almost going to the hospital. Then in March 2021, Khamzat posts on social media that he's retiring. His own words later, "I was thinking, when am I going to be finished with this?" He thought he was going to die. Dana White personally talked him out of retirement. He flew home, got medical help, and slowly started training again. April 2022, UFC 273, Gilbert Burns, a former title challenger. For the first time, Khamzat would have to fight 3 full rounds. This is where Khamzat gets really interesting. His style isn't flashy, it's brutal efficiency. It starts with the feint, a high kick or a jab, anything to make you protect your head. The second your hands go up, your hips are exposed. That's when he shoots. His takedowns are pure freestyle wrestling. Head into the hip, drive through, finish on the cage. Defend the first one, he chains into a second. Same Caucasus DNA as Khabib and Makhachev. Once he gets you down, the real problem starts. He doesn't just hold position, he hunts. Body locks, chain wrestling, ground and pound that breaks your will round by round. Against du Plessis, he had over 21 minutes of ground control in a 25-minute fight. Outlanded him 529-45. His weakness? Cardio when he refuses to slow down. Burns proved that in 2022. Khamzat got dropped twice. He won, but he learned. Since then, nobody has come close. Khamzat doesn't build rivalries, they build around him. There was Paulo Costa, booked for UFC 294. Costa pulled out with an infection, and Khamzat lost it at the press conference. Get that guy here, I'll smash him. That fight never happened. There was Robert Whittaker. The fight got cancelled in 2024 when Khamzat fell ill again. When they finally fought at UFC 308, Khamzat needed less than a round. Face crank submission. But the rivalry that defined him came against the champion himself, the South African Nightmare, the man who beat Adesanya, Strickland, and Whittaker. His name is Dricus du Plessis. UFC 319, August 2025, Chicago. Title on the line. Du Plessis was already a legend in the making. He had beaten Adesanya, beaten Strickland, finished Whittaker, 3 former champions. He looked unbeatable. Khamzat walked in undefeated, 14-0. But people had questions. Could his cardio handle 5 rounds? Could he hold up under that pressure? The fight started. 7 seconds in, du Plessis was on his back. What followed was one of the most one-sided title fights in UFC history. 12 takedowns, 21 minutes of ground control, 529 strikes landed to 45, 52-44, 52-44, 52-44. When the scores were read, the division had to face the truth. Khamzat Chimaev wasn't the next big thing anymore. He was the new champion. Khamzat Chimaev's career is wild even by MMA standards. A childhood in a war zone. A career that almost ended in a hospital. A title run nobody could stop. He's not a striker who learned to wrestle. He's not a wrestler who learned to strike. He's a Chechen wolf, raised on freestyle wrestling, sharpened in Stockholm, hardened by health problems most fighters wouldn't survive. Now the question is, how long does this reign last? Drop your prediction. Will Khamzat go undefeated like Khabib? Or does someone in this division have his number? If you watch this far, you're exactly who this channel is for. Subscribe so you don't miss the next fighter story, because the next one almost lost his title in the most controversial way, and then came back stronger than ever.